Welcome to Parks, a game about, well, exploring parks. The game is played through multiple rounds which are denoted by the 4 seasons of the year. With each passing season, the trail changes, getting longer and more scenic. The objective of the game is to collect as many points as you can. Points are scored in a few different ways, which will be explained later in further detail. The player with the most points at the end of the 4 seasons is the winner. But before we can go exploring, we're going to have to learn how to set this up. Let's get into it. Place the board and the 2 resource trays off to the side of the table and in a place where they are easily accessible by all players. Separately shuffle each deck and place them on their designated areas on the board. Canteens on the canteen space, seasons on the season space, gear on the gear space, and parks on the park space. After decks have been placed, deal 1 canteen card to each player. Only the year deck and events deck should be left unplaced at this point. The events deck is only used in solo play, so feel free to put it back in the box. If this is your first playthrough, deal 1 year card face down to each player. These have unique objectives for each player that will score you points at the end of the game, so keep them secret. In future playthroughs, deal 2 year cards to each player and have them choose one of them to keep as their objective. Now it's time to set up the trail where most of your journey will take place. To determine your trail for this season, place the trailhead and trail end on the table. Then take the 5 basic site tiles, Forest, Valley, Mountain, Ocean, and Vista, and add 1 randomly selected advanced site tile and shuffle them together. If you're playing with 4 to 5 players, make sure to also include the waterfall trail site. If you're playing with less, then remove it from the game. After shuffling the tiles, place them one by one between the trailhead and trail end to create your trail. Take 1 season card from the top of the deck and place it where all players can read it. Each season has a unique season effect, so keep it in mind as you progress through your hike. Be sure to fulfill any season effects that require immediate action before starting the game. Seasons also have unique weather patterns. Starting from the second trail site, place the resources that are listed on the weather pattern. Repeat the pattern after you've completed the cycle once on the trail. Lastly, you'll want to give everyone their player pieces. This includes 2 hikers and a campfire, lit side up, and have them place their hikers at the trailhead. The starting player is the person who most recently visited a national park. Alright, now you're all set up and ready to go. But slow down there, you've got a lot to learn before you're ready to play. Each player takes on the role of 2 hikers exploring the scenic trails throughout the seasons. Using your 2 hikers, you will make your way down the trail, stopping at trail sites along the way. First turn begins at the trailhead with the player who has the first hiker marker. Turns are then taken clockwise. When visiting a trail site, you must perform the action at the trail site. First-time visitors of trail sites will often be rewarded bonus tokens from the weather pattern, which will be placed on the trail site tiles. If you have more than 12 tokens at the end of your turn, you must return tokens to the resource tray until you have 12. As you explore different trail sites, you will sometimes be faced with specific actions you can take. If you collect a water token from a trail site, you can use the water token to fill your canteen. Filling your canteen allows you to perform the canteen's action. Once a canteen is filled, the water token remains on it until the end of the season and cannot be used for anything else. When visiting a vista, you will have the option of drawing a new canteen card or turning in any 2 tokens you own to gain possession of the camera, as well as take a photo of the site. Taking a photo earns you 1 point and is one of the ways to score points in this game. Owning the camera allows you to take photos at the end of the season and at future vistas for a reduced price, 1 token instead of 2. Ownership of the camera only changes when another player moves to the vista and pays the 2 token price to take a photo. As you look ahead, it's important to keep in mind that your hiker cannot visit a trail site already occupied by another hiker, even your own. The only way to occupy the same trail site as another hiker is to use your campfire. After using your campfire to visit an occupied trail site, extinguish it by flipping it over. Campfires are reignited when one of your hikers reaches the trail end. Don't forget to keep an eye on your year card, which lists your personal objectives. While these objectives aren't mandatory, completing either of them will add points to your total score at the end of the game. Whichever completed objective rewards more points at the end of the game is the one you receive. The season progresses until all hikers have reached the trail end. When the second to last hiker has reached the trail end and completed an action, the last hiker must move directly to the trail end and choose an action, regardless of their current position on the trail. When one of your hikers reaches the trail end, you have 3 choices: reserve a park, buy gear, or visit a park. Reserving a park allows you to take one of the 3 parks on the board or draw the top card from the parks deck. This park is yours to keep throughout the game and can be bought for its original cost, by you only anytime you'd be able to visit a park. Do keep in mind that this is only a reservation and the park's points do not actually count towards your total until you've officially visited the park. If you are the first player to reserve a park at the end of a season, you will also gain the first hiker marker. No other hikers during this season who reach this spot will receive the marker. The first hiker marker is worth 1 point at the end of the game. Gear can help you on your journey in a multitude of ways. Some gear have persisting abilities while others have an additional instant action that is activated immediately when acquired. Replace gear that has been acquired with gear from the gear deck. Being the first to buy gear gives you a 1 sunshine token discount if you are playing with 3 or fewer players. In games of 4 or more players, the second hiker to buy gear also receives this discount. And last, but certainly not least, choosing to visit a park allows you to spend your hard-earned tokens on one of the 3 face-up park cards. Simply pay the required tokens listed on the park card to visit it. Each park's point value is denoted on the card by the cost. Replace parks that have been visited with a new park from the parks deck. There is no limit to how many hikers can visit a park, nor is there any first visitor bonus. Once all hikers have reached the trail end and taken an action, the player in possession of the camera may take a photo. This is at the cost of 1 token. Don't forget that wildlife tokens are wild, meaning they can be used in place of any other token to visit parks or take photos, but cannot be used for paying for canteens or gear. Tokens are finite, meaning the only way to replenish is to return tokens from a player's possession back to the supply. Now that the first season is officially complete, it's time to take a look at what happens between seasons and setting up for the next trail. Empty out any canteens that are filled, and bring all hikers back to the trailhead for the next trail. To prepare the new trail, take all the trail sites from the last season played, add another advanced trail site at random, and shuffle. Because you've only added 1 new advanced site tile, the new trail should just be 1 site longer than the last season's. Put the last season card at the bottom of the season's deck and place a new season down. Just like during the initial setup, don't forget to place down tokens starting from the second trail site on your new trail based on the weather pattern of the new season. These steps taken after a season can be repeated after each season until you've reached the 4th and final season. When the 4th and final season has passed and the last photo opportunity has taken place, the game is officially over. Players then tally all their points, which are counted from parks, photos, and their personal bonus from their year card. Don't forget that 1 point is awarded to the player in possession of the first hiker marker at the end of the game. The player who scored the most points is the winner. If there's a tie, the win goes to the player who visited the most total parks. And if the tie still remains, well, the win is shared. And that's it. That wraps up the game of parks. For frequently asked questions and additional details on playing the game solo, please refer to the rulebook. We hope you enjoy every second of this new and scenic adventure.